Welcome into Dolphins Today. I am your host, Will Scott, and on today's show, we're going to be getting into a Dolphins mock draft, talking about some draft targets for the Dolphins. I'm going to go pick by pick and make my selections here for the Dolphins. Y'all have been patient here, so I appreciate your patience. Y'all have been waiting a long time for us to do a Dolphins mock draft, and we get you daily Dolphins content even in the offseason. So to get the best NFL draft news, rumors, and mocks, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot more of these, so be sure to go down and subscribe to the channel. Thanks to Stephen Ross tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. The Dolphins do not have a first-round pick, but they do have 5 selections overall. Their first pick will be the 51st overall selection in the second round. Then they have 2 third-round picks, one courtesy of New England via the Devontae Parker trade. My goodness, that trade looks really good right now. They have a 6th-round pick and a 7th-round pick. So I'm going to go selection by selection here. I use PFN's mock draft simulator, and they're pretty good about, what guys might be on the board when. So I kind of went pick by pick here, trying to fill some of the Dolphins' team needs. And I think a lot of us can agree that the Dolphins might pursue a tight end this offseason. Is that going to be in free agency? Is that going to be in the draft? I'm not so sure. But there's some solid tight ends available in the draft. And when you watch Georgia this year, Brock Bowers really stood out, and his counterpart, Darnell Washington, was underlooked. So I selected Darnell Washington here, the Georgia tight end in the second round. I think he might fall a little bit because he was the number 2 tight end behind Bowers in that explosive Georgia offense. Taking a look at the numbers, 28 receptions, 454 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16.2 yards per catch. So the numbers are not crazy, but he has so much potential, so much upside. Here's what PFF's draft guide said about Darnell Washington. It's rare to see a tight end who has just 45 receptions in college be so highly regarded, but that is Darnell Washington's skill set. It's 6'7" and 270 pounds. He's a huge athlete who boasted a top 10 run blocking grade at the position this past season. He can be an intriguing option in the passing game as well, as he averaged 17.2 yards per catch over the course of his college career. On those 45 receptions at Georgia, he forced 14 missed tackles and averaged 17.5 yards after the catch per reception. So Darnell Washington has a lot of upside. Again, the numbers don't jump off the page. Brock Bowers obviously put up much better numbers, but Washington, again, went a little bit overlooked in that Georgia offense. And when you're looking at the Dolphins' tight end room, he might fit in well because Gesicki is expected to leave in free agency. Durham Smythe, I wouldn't mind him being the number 1, but maybe Washington could be the number 2 as you kind of groom him in this Dolphins offense. But I think Washington would help fill the Gesicki void immediately, and Washington is actually a really good blocker as a tight end, which means he would fit well in Mike McDaniel's offense. Because Gesicki could not block, he was not a great fit, and he's probably going to leave in free agency. So in round 2, your first pick, you would fill a pretty big team need right away, drafting Darnell Washington to be your new tight end. What's the best way to draft? Give me your opinion on this. Is it team need or is it best player? Type B for best player or type T for team need down in the comment section. I kind of went with both here. Washington was the best player on the board here, but also it fills a team need because you might need a tight end this offseason. Another big team need is running back, and I have filled that team need for the Dolphins here, taking Sean Tucker out of Syracuse University with the 77th overall pick in the third round. Sean had a spectacular season at Syracuse, one of the best running backs in Syracuse history. And if you know anything about Syracuse Orange football, you know the number of really good running backs they've produced. You got Jim Brown. You got Ernie Davis. You got Floyd Little. You got Larry Zonk. You get all these talented tailbacks that have come out of Syracuse. Sean Tucker is one of the best to suit up for the Orange. Over 3,000 yards in his career, 27 touchdowns. He declared for the draft early, and he is expected to be a second or third round pick. And I think he would be a perfect fit in Mike McDaniel's offense. He's a good pass-catching back as well. He can do a lot of different things. He's explosive. He's hard to bring down. I think he would be really, really good in this Dolphins offense. And the Dolphins, when you're looking at their running back situation, they're probably going to draft a running back because all 4 of their running backs are free agents. Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. Their top 2 running backs are both unrestricted free agents, and then Salvon Ahmed and Myles Gaskin are restricted free agents. So when you're looking at this situation, I think it's very possible that the Dolphins are going to sign a running back in free agency. Could bring back Mostert, we'll see. And then draft a running back early on in the NFL draft. But Sean Tucker out of Syracuse, call me biased. I went to Syracuse, I know. But he would be a fantastic pick for this Dolphins team. When I saw these available in the 3rd round, I certainly took him. He would be great to add to this Dolphins running back room. And if you're looking to add employees to your small business, the best way to do that is through LinkedIn Talent Solutions, where you can post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. Because these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain you have the best access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Add your job using the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it simple to focus on candidates with just the right skill sets and experiences so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NFL Daily. That's linkedin.com/NFL Daily to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. I applied to Chat Sports about a year ago, and I found Chat Sports through LinkedIn. Jack Lauderay, producer, found Chat Sports through LinkedIn. We've been able to grow our team through LinkedIn Talent Solutions. We've grown our team a lot over the past year or two. We've expanded our office space. We're continuing to get you guys more content, and that's thanks in large part to LinkedIn Talent Solutions. If you have a small business, if you're looking to grow your company, LinkedIn is a great place to start. Go to that link below, linkedin.com/NFL Daily, to post your job for free right now. Now let's get into the Dolphins pick at number 84, their 2nd pick in the 3rd round, thanks to that Devontae Parker trade last year. And they definitely need offensive line help, and we're going to address that need right now. Taking Steve Avila, the offensive guard out of TCU, who was the starting guard this season for the Horned Frogs and put up pretty solid numbers on that TCU team that made the national championship game, a 71.0 PFF grade, over 1,000 snaps, did not give up 1 sack all year, just 2 hits and just 9 hurries. Here's the scouting report on him, courtesy of Draft Network. As a run blocker, Avila has an aggressive temperament and immediately seeks defensive linemen to engage with. Once engaged, Avila does a good job using his mass to lean on defensive linemen and making it difficult for them to shed him. Avila's natural strength is evident in how he is able to displace defensive linemen off the ball and create running lanes for the ball carrier. In pass protection, Avila shows best when dealing with power rushers. When Avila is facing a power rusher, he does a good job of anchoring and stopping defenders from penetrating into the backfield and getting pressure on the quarterback. Avila's strength combined with his mass allows him to win most physical matchups that require strength. So a good scouting report there from Draft Network. And he'd be a huge upgrade over Liam Eichenberg. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, how good does this starting 5 sound? Just throwing this out there. Teron Armstead, Steve Avila at left guard, Connor Williams at center, Robert Hunt at right guard, and then maybe Mike McGlinchey or someone else in free agency at right tackle. I mean, that's a really, really solid starting 5 along the offensive line. I think you could take Avila here in the 3rd round, and he could start right away on this Dolphins offensive line. Even as a 3rd-round pick, he could start right away. He'd be an upgrade over Robert Jones, I think. He'd be an upgrade over Liam Eichenberg. He might be better than some guys that are available in free agency. And he'd probably be cheaper. So I think that he could start right away, fix that guard problem right now, and take Steve Avila with your pick in the 3rd round, one of your 2 picks in the 3rd round. He's probably not going to be on the board that much later. So get him in the 3rd round when you can, and have him start along this Dolphins offensive line right away. Do you want to draft Steve Avila? I see Sherry May in the chat saying he sounds badass. He's a really good player. Type D for draft or P for pass down in the comment section. Go down, let me know. Do you want to draft Steve Avila? Have him be the starting left guard next season for the Dolphins. Again, he was starting on the TCU offensive line last year. That TCU team, they did a great job protecting Heisman runner-up Max Duggan. Now, the Dolphins don't have a draft pick in the 4th round. They don't have a draft pick in the 5th round, so let's fast forward nearly 100 picks here to the 6th round, where the Dolphins select at 178, and I have them taking another offensive lineman, Jaxson Kirkland, an offensive tackle from the University of Washington. Now, he's got a lot of upside, but he could fall to day 3 because of his injury history. Originally declared for the 2021 draft, but returned to school because of some injury concerns. Thought his draft stock could be better this year. Had ankle surgery after the 2021 season. Still able to play most of this past season. He played both left tackle and left guard at Washington, which is why I like him as a prospect. I think he could play both positions. So if you don't draft Avila, maybe you can get Kirkland to be your left tackle, and he has some versatility there amongst the offensive line. 2022 first-team All-Pac-12 selection. Had a 75.1 PFF grade, an 82.6 pass block grade, can take good care of Tua. 0 sacks allowed this past season at Washington. So you could draft him in the 6th round, maybe have him be your backup swing tackle this season. I really like the idea of drafting Kirkland because of his upside and because of his versatility along the offensive line. Here's our next pick here. Mike Jones Jr. Who? Mike Jones, the LSU linebacker. I have him selected here in the 7th round, the last Dolphins pick, number 261 overall. Of course, the Dolphins have a need at the linebacker position. Draft who? Mike Jones. That's who. The LSU linebacker. 7th round selection. I think this would be a really good pick in the 7th round. He was getting round 1 hype when he was at Clemson, then transferred to LSU. Still a solid player for the Tigers. Didn't necessarily live up to some of that first-round hype he had. Played 2 full seasons at LSU. 55 tackles in 2 seasons after transferring from Clemson after 2020. He was a highly touted fit out of IMG. Like I said, once getting first-round hype as a Clemson player. Here's the scouting report from Draft Network. Mike Jones Jr.'s best trait is a football player appears to be his athleticism. When aligned in the nickel linebacker position, Jones does a great job of making impact plays. In pass coverage, Jones has the speed to carry receivers vertically 20-plus yards up the field. He also shows to have good lateral agility in zone coverage where he can read the quarterback's eyes and jump routes to disrupt plays. Jones also appears to be a good tackler in space. Jones does a good job of closing the ball carriers and making the tackle, making him an efficient tackler on the perimeter. So, interesting prospect here, Mike Jones. I think he's worth taking a chance on him in the 7th round. His stock has certainly fallen over the past couple of years, but 7th round pick, bring him into this Dolphins linebacker room, have him compete with maybe Cameron Good and Channing Tindall for a spot on this football team next year. Let's revisit some of these picks. Darnell Washington, 2nd round selection. That's the first Dolphins pick. You fill a need at linebacker, or tight end there, having him replace Mike Gesicki. Sean Tucker, taking him in the 3rd round. Steve Avila and Jaxson Kirkland filling those needs along the offensive line. And then Mike Jones in the 7th round. Go down and grade my mock draft. What do you think? I have us taking a tight end, a running back, 2 offensive linemen, and a linebacker. That helps fill those team needs, if you ask me. A, B, C, D, or F. Mike Jones in the chat saying he agrees with the Mike Jones pick. I'm sure you do. Type A, B, C, D, or chat. Type A, B, C, D, or F down in the chat. Go down and grade my mock draft and subscribe to the channel. We're certainly going to be getting you more Dolphins mock drafts before April's NFL draft.